A warm welcome to the June episode of the UxbridgeFM podcast, where we scour Uxbridge, finding out what's going on. Coming up, we'll find out how it's going with Hillingdon's new local paper. We'll meet the new mayor. There's news on what's coming up in Uxbridge this summer from the Uxbridge bid. Have you ever wondered what it's like working as a local councillor? And news on a charity walk to take part in too. First off, let's talk all about our local paper. Right, it's lovely to welcome back Rachel Sharp, who is Senior Journalism Lecturer at Brunel University. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Steve. Thank you very much for having me back again.
Now, you came in October last year when you were launching the new Hillingdon Herald. It's now had 8 issues, I think.
It has, yeah. We're just on the 9th edition. June is the 9th edition. Yes, I think I came in the morning after our launch party. I think I was very, very tired. I remember coming in and chatting to you the morning after. So yes, that's right, 8 editions so far.
And lots of late nights and pizzas and all that, I guess.
We have had a lot of fun over the last 8 months. We've had lots of late nights in the newsroom, lots of pizzas being ordered, sandwiches and all kinds of things like that. So, yes, it's been a proper newsroom, proper journey.
It's fantastic having a paper for the borough, isn't it? Have you had much feedback from local people?
We have. We've had lots of feedback, actually, and that's the one thing that I've absolutely loved, because there's nothing nicer than getting in and having emails, messages on social media, people saying they've read the paper, they love the paper, other people saying they've heard about it, asking where they can pick it up. So really, really lovely community reaction. I hoped that people would like it, but I didn't know they would like it as much as they seem to have done, so I hope they continue to do so.
Yeah. And what's some of the events covered over the last 8 issues? One that springs to mind for me was the fire near the university. That was quite handy.
That was quite handy. They always say, you know, things happen right where you are. And if you're a journalist, you always go out to see what it is. And that's what was said. So the fire was quite funny because we have a WhatsApp group chat, and one of the journalists put a message on the group chat saying, I can see smoke rising behind Brunel University, and then all of a sudden the WhatsApp was alight with everybody saying, what's happening, where is it, I can see it from here, can you see it from this window? Then we had another one of the students putting a call into the fire brigade to see what had happened. Another one left a voice message as he was driving in his car saying, I'm on my way. The students hadn't covered a fire before, and I wanted to make sure they were okay, so I also leapt in my car and drove down and met them. And we bumped into James from Hillingdon TV, who was there as well. Yeah, just that kind of live reporting experience and the enthusiasm from the students to see something's going on. We need to try and find out what it is. I think that was it was certainly dark. It must have been about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I was just about to put some food in the oven. And my husband just looked at me and said, oh, you're going, aren't you? Living with a journalist. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Lots of blue lights and firemen walking around. It's probably quite photogenic, I would have thought, at night.
It is, actually, the blue lights and all the firemen. It was really good.
What was the outcome? Do we know? It's a Netflix, wasn't it? Storage place.
That's right, yeah, Netflix storage place. So the outcome of the fire was sort of undecided. They haven't managed to find out what the cause was. But it was a huge fire. They did manage to get it under control quite quickly, but we saw fire engines from all over. It wasn't just Hillingdon fire engines. There were fire engines from all over. It was definitely a big fire. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. The story is that they don't know what caused it.
No. There is a bit of a thing about film studios catching fire locally, isn't there? That seems to happen quite a lot.
It does, yeah, interesting.
The other thing I guess you covered was the local elections. How does that work goes out very late, doesn't it? So you're sitting there and watching the counts go.
It does go out very late, but it's lots of fun. As a journalist who's covered so many local elections, I know that I sound like a complete geek when I say this, but I don't care. I love them. And I was a bit worried the students might not enjoy it, but they absolutely loved it. So it was a very, very late night. We started in our newsroom at 9:30 in the evening. We had a briefing in the newsroom where I told everybody what was happening and put them into teams so they could work on all the different wards. And then at 10 o'clock we went over, and the most exciting part of the night for them was the first ballot boxes arriving. So I told them that, the first ballot box arrives, and then that's when the count's going to start. So the first person to arrive, I forget which ward he was from actually, but he got a big cheer when he arrived with his ballot box.
Yeah.
But it was a great night. We had pizzas delivered to us. We had, cold drinks and snacks and things like that. Kept them in a coffee machine, obviously, which kept them going.
And is it counted manually still, or is it going through a machine that counts the ticks and the crosses?
Counted manually still, which is absolutely fascinating. Journalists used to be able to walk down the line of people counting and be able to watch that and see what happens. I don't really know when that changed in the last few years. Sort of, journalists are not allowed to take photographs of the ballot papers, but you could walk up and down the line and see. But now you can't. They kind of kept us penned back, which is a bit of a shame. But the students loved the night. It was very exciting. All the councillors were there, and they were chatting to them and interviewing them, and it was a lovely night for them.
Yeah, it's nice to raise the sort of profile of local elections. Locally, I don't think many people understand exactly how they work, including me sometimes, because there have been some boundary changes.
Including me as well sometimes, and I teach local government at Brunel University, so elections, it's very, very hard. And I wonder sometimes if that is the reason for low turnouts.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
I think Hillingdon has what they would consider, or everybody would consider, is quite a high turnout, but it's in the 30s, and that's not good. But yes, it is confusing, and it's confusing for me as well, and particularly this year because we had the ward boundary changes. So we did run a piece in the Hillingdon Herald the month before explaining to residents what the boundary changes were. But, we had to look into that very carefully and understand it ourselves, because, elections are difficult to understand for everybody, I think.
And then a few events where Boris has turned up, unexpectedly, usually. I mean, there was one last week at the Hillingdon Expo, and I love the build-up as well. It's such a funny thing. We were at the Brunel Hillingdon Expo, and there were suddenly men with earpieces wandering around, and we thought, why is this? Opening various cupboards and checking inside. And then he arrived in a gust of whirlwind.
It was very funny, actually. I remember looking at you, and we were everybody knew something was happening, but you can see, men talking into their sleeves, and you think, okay, something's going on here. And I saw one of our Brunel police officers outside, actually, outside the building, and he looked at me with suspicion in his eyes, because obviously he knew what was happening, and he said, "What are you doing here, Rachel?" And I said, "Never mind that. What are you doing here?" And he said, "Oh dear, you know, don't you?" But the activity and the buzz, you could tell something's happening. So as journalists, we just guess, don't we? And we say, okay, something's going on. I'm going to hang around.
Exactly. Yes. So on the course, it's a 3-year course.
It is.
Journalism. You do journalism with politics or journalism with communication.
That's right.
Anybody sort of locally who's thinking of taking up journalism, I mean, what sort of things do you cover on the course? We
try and do everything, really. So the thing with journalism is that once you become a journalist and you're trained, you can then go into any kind of journalism that you like. So certainly at the university I went to, I thought that I would like to do feature writing for some reason. When I was younger, I thought I was very creative and I'd like to write features. And we did everything at my university, and I completely fell in love with hard news, and I've been a hard news journalist ever since. And so we do the same at Brunel. They will get to learn politics, political reporting, feature writing, news reporting, soft news reporting, video journalism, so they'll be in front of the camera, but also behind the camera, learning editing. We do a bit of radio. So the idea is that they get to cover everything. And then hopefully by the end of their 3 years, they might have fallen in love with a particular type of journalism. But either way, they're skilled at the end of the 3 years to do any type of journalism, which is, I think, the most important thing.
And are there jobs in journalism still?
Definitely. I hear a lot of people saying that there aren't jobs in journalism, but I think that a lot of the jobs have changed. But there certainly are jobs. I mean, our master's students that launched the paper with me in October last year are just graduating now. We've got one who's already working on the news desk at the Daily Express. We've got another one who is working on a magazine. We've got another one who's working on a regional paper in Birmingham. And they haven't even graduated yet. You know, their ceremony is in a few weeks' time, and they've only just finished, but 3 of them already have jobs. So there definitely are jobs out there for the right people. I think the training is really important. I think it's a shame because I think in the old days you could kind of get into journalism by, you know, being the paper boy or paper girl and making the tea and then work your way up. But they do require qualifications, and we teach some very important things like media law. And you can't really be a journalist unless you understand your media law. So they do have to be trained. But yeah, I think there are jobs out there, and for all kinds of different people. We've got one girl who's absolutely amazing at social media, and she's going for lots of jobs in social media at the moment, and that's her thing. So yeah, lots of jobs out there, I think.
I suppose with the internet and almost so many different media outlets, especially in terms of streaming services, you end up paying for all these different things, don't you? Netflix, Prime and Disney Plus, and adds up. But yeah, it does seem to be fragmented, but then that might be a good thing because you could do small things for many people, I guess.
That's it. I think that's true. And one of the modules we run, Multiplatform Journalism, it's about telling one story in so many different ways. So you can, and at the base of all of that is proper journalism. So if you've learnt the proper journalism, you're going out and you're researching, talking to people, getting facts and getting sources, you can turn that into a 15-second video on TikTok or on Instagram, and you can also write a long-form piece of journalism. You could also film it for a longer video or a documentary. So it can be fragmented, and that's what we do. And you know, that's the way the world is now.
You mentioned when we last spoke that the university was covering the costs of the paper. Is that going to carry on as far as you know?
It is going to carry on. So Brunel seem very happy with the way that the paper is running. I think they have also received, well, I know they've also received really good feedback from the community, so I'm very grateful for that. They know that it's really well liked in the area, and also I think it helps. You know, you and I were at the Brunel Expo and we were talking to lots of people there about community, and you know me and I know you. We're both we think the same things about community. Community is really important. I love Hillingdon, I love the borough, I love the community here. And I think that Brunel is doing a good thing for the community by producing this local paper. It's a great thing for our students because they're getting work experience. And hopefully we're becoming more part of the community than perhaps we were before. So Brunel's very happy to continue, which is great news for me. As long as the people still love it, then we'll carry on. And distribution-wise, we can get it in libraries, I know that, across the borough. And then where else can you get the paper? Libraries across the whole borough, obviously, is the first one. They were very, very good. Balcony shirts have been amazing. Balcony shirts were one of the first shops that offered to stock for us. We're also in the Chimes shopping centre now, and starting in September, we're going to be in the pavilions. So we're going to spend this summer. It's quite difficult without the weight of a distribution department behind us, which all newspapers would normally have. So we're having to do it on our own. But we're going to spend this summer looking for more places because lots of people have said, have you thought about having it here? Have you thought about having it there? So we just need to contact those people this summer, see if they're willing to stock it. I mean, it's a free paper that people can just pick up. So I don't see why people wouldn't be willing to, if they've got some space, to just stock it. So any shops, you know, the local Tesco's, Sainsbury's, people like that, we're going to talk to them this summer. Yeah, it's one of those things. If it brings people into your shop, even a tiny thing like that, it all helps, doesn't it? Exactly, and I think it all helps as a community, doesn't it? It's all yes. Again about being part of the community. Well, hopefully it carries on for many, many more months and years. Thank you very much. That would be amazing. I would love that. We are taking a small hiatus over the summer. So June has been our last edition, Platinum Jubilee Special Edition. But we do need to take a break in July and August because the students have to go home and have a summer break at some point. So we will take a small hiatus, but back in September after the June edition. Nice, all fresh and tanned from holidays. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Well, thanks for joining us today, Rachel. It's been great filling us in on what's happening with the paper. And the website is hillingdonherald.co.uk. It is. Thank you very much for having me in again. It's been a pleasure. Great stuff. Thanks, Rachel. Thank you. Now, every year we have a new mayor in the borough. So we're calling our next segment, Meet the Mayor. Our special guest in the studio, I'm going to use your official title as well, the Worshipful, the Mayor of Hillingdon, Councillor Becky Haggar. Hello. Hello. Thank you for having me. Now, it's only been, a few weeks since you were confirmed as Mayor. Lots have been happening. I've been following your Twitter feed, and especially over the Jubilee weekend, your schedule was pretty packed, wasn't it? It certainly was. Give us an idea of perhaps normally how many events a day a mayor might do.
That is the $6 million question, Steve. So we can get quite busy, and we've had lockdown, so it has been a challenge over the last 2 years. We're just starting to get back up and running. So we're looking at around 3 to 4 events probably a day. We've had the Platinum Jubilee, so we had a mammoth. It was around 100 invites to street parties, which was incredible. I mean, absolutely wonderful to see. So, but on a daily basis, usually between 4 and 5.
And you have maybe breakfast in the morning and then a dinner in the evening, so it can be a long day.
Certainly can, but that's the job, and we're here to do it with enthusiasm and energy. We love it.
I've heard from previous mayors they tend to put on a bit of weight maybe over their mayoral year.
Well, hopefully we won't be. We're both avid. Well, I speak for myself and my consort as well. We do like our fitness. So I'm a bit of a runner. So I go out in the morning, early morning, for a little jog. And hopefully that will keep all the cream cakes and the cream teas off. So
you're a ward councillor in Eastcote still. How do you find time for your council duties around the mayoral duties?
Yes, so thank you for asking that. Well, we've got 2 other amazing ward councillors. One is the leader and one is Councillor Nick Dennis. So we do share, we believe in team working. So all 3 of us work together, we share the workload. So actually it isn't too bad. We're great as a team. We've been working together since 2014. So
you mentioned running. What else do you get up to when you aren't doing mayoral duties and meeting the amazing people in the borough?
Yes, so we do quite a lot of work outside that anyway. So I'm a fitness instructor. So I teach boxing, insanity, cardio fitness, and a wide range of things. And obviously running, I love running. And also we co-founded and run a charity, Hillingdon Brain Tumour and Brain Injury Charity as well. So where we do a lot of palliative care work and a lot of work with disability. Really giving purpose to people, purpose to people's lives that have been changed very dramatically normally. So, so we are very busy within the community.
And that's your 2 chosen charities this year, is it? The Daniela Logan Foundation and the Magical Marvellous Picture House also in there as well.
Yeah. That's right. So both of those have been born. We love encouraging people to get up and, if there's a gap missing, for them to just really come together and really fill that gap. Our motto is we can't keep complaining. We've got to be the ones that do it, right? We've got to bring the people together. The Daniela Logan Foundation is very special to my heart. The family came into me when their daughter, who was 11, Daniela, was diagnosed with a brain tumour. And we supported her all the way through to her death and supported the family. And from that amazing experience, we realised there was quite a gap in children with cancer in Hillingdon. So we wanted to sort of have something, a charity that would bring people together, people together. So when they're passing, they pass in a lovely place. It's difficult enough as it is anyway, but isn't it lovely for someone to actually say, a child to say, well, you know what, I'd like to pass away with this music, with these people around me, with this food, and just go in a beautiful spiritual way. So that's where the Daniela Logan Foundation has been born. And actually, it's run by the parents, the mum and dad, Angela and Terry, who have been incredible. They had, losing a child is probably one of the hardest losses. And Angela and Terry have been absolutely amazing. Their faith, just everything has come across, and they're working so incredibly with so many children in Hillingdon that have cancer and terminal cancer. So, what can I say? I mean, it's an incredible journey, and they really are amazing to do that after the loss of their daughter.
And the Magical Marvellous Picture House. That sounds interesting.
It is, isn't it? So we wanted to go for 2 different completely spectrums, really.
Yeah.
The Magical Marvellous Picture House, again, we've birthed this. It's fantastic. It's from a friend of ours called Martin, and he does a lot of photography. We recognise that when people take photos now, it's very much on their phone. It's not with the real cameras, and there's not so much developing and things like that. And the memories we don't seem to be remembering things because it's just what we see on our phone, right? Which is what we've just taken in the last week. rather than actually going back. So Magical Marvellous Picture House is a team of people. It's a charity. They've got together and we're looking to fund somewhere for them to be, so a little home. They're going to be selling old photography, so all equipment and things like that. There's going to be a second area where there'll be photos that they encourage the public to take, and in the backlog there'll be training, learning how to process. And this is all for people who've got disability, maybe people who lost their way, people who haven't got a purpose, or maybe it's just, just for people who want to come and have an interest in photography. Bring back the photo albums. When people haven't got a purpose in life, it's really important that, there's something they can do. And we've seen this really work well with people coming in with a disability that actually have found they can actually do something. It's like, wow, I've taken this photo and look, it's appearing before my eyes. It is magical.
How far advanced is that? Have you found somewhere to base the charity yet, or is that in its early stages?
So that's right, Steve. It's in its early stages. So this is where we want to really lift them up. Both of the charities actually need a base. And the idea is if we can have as much support, as much funding as we can, so we can find a base for them and give them a good start.
So let's talk about the Mayor's Parlour for a minute, because again, a lot of people won't know how the system works. There's a room in the Civic Centre called the Mayor's Parlour where you can meet guests and hang out. Can you explain a bit more about that, what it's used for and what's in it?
Yes, I don't think there's much hanging out time, Steve. So, yes, the Mayor's Parlour is a great place for people to come in. So we invite groups in. So it might be charities, it might be community groups. Recently we've had we had an interfaith group, which was leaders and people from different religions coming together in the parlour and really just, that connecting, talking about the history of the Mayor's Parlour. But our aim as a mayor is to really lift the borough of Hillingdon up, to really encourage people to connect right from the north to the south, right across, really getting everyone lifted up, especially as we come out of COVID. We need to get people back out there.
Have you got any favourite items in the Mayor's Parlour? Because there's gifts, aren't there, from people that have visited?
There is. Have you been to the Mayor's Parlour, Steve?
I have a long time ago, yes. And I was shown some interesting knives that I thought, that's interesting. Glad they're in a glass case. But
That's right. No, there are. My favourite is the Queen. So did you see the picture of the Queen coming out?
Oh, maybe, yes.
It is black and white. And it's just a stunning historical picture. For me, that says it all. She just lost her father, obviously, and she was coming back. And landing into Heathrow. And we've also got her signature on there as well, which is, incredible. But it's just very poignant, especially coming up, as we just had the Platinum Jubilee and her birthday's coming up too. It's it's a lovely picture and really, I think it encompasses as well the majesty, the historical side and how, our monarch.
So on the charity front, I know previous mayors have done sponsored walks and things across the borough. Have you got any plans perhaps in the next few months to arrange a big-ish event to raise some money?
Well, yes, and many people who know me will know, they'll say, oh, what are they up to? So, never anything small. We always go big. So what we're aiming to do is we would like to hold between 4 and 5 events across the year. So Hillingdon is so diverse in its culture, in everything. I mean, we're really good at that. We're really good at being encompassing and inclusive. And what we're doing is we're having 4 events, and they're all going to be different cultural events. So the first one is a Bollywood event. So we're looking at dancing, we're looking at singing. We're going to have the instruments from India in to play, and we're going to have a little quiz to see how many people know about Bollywood and about Hillingdon as well, and all sorts of things. So we're really excited about that. That's coming in July, so we will be advertising that. So watch this space. We want to do something different, Steve. We wanted to really get people together and really have a bit of a joy and a sort of a party. So we're going to be doing it at the Civic Centre.
Cool. The centre rocking with the drums and everything.
Exactly. It's going to be great. And an opportunity to dance as well, and maybe try your hand at some So I hope you're coming, Steve.
If there's Indian food, I'll be there. Those Indian desserts, I love those.
They're amazing, aren't they? And we will have Indian foods. And then we're hoping to do an Irish night. And each one has been sponsored actually by the community, so businesses within the community. We just wanted to encourage everyone and get everyone involved.
Yeah. So Bollywood, an Irish night, anything else that's planned?
Yeah, we're hoping for African night and a multicultural night, so all cultures together, because obviously we recognise we can't do every single one, and also a British night. So we've got old time musical.
Oh, yeah.
So from Roll Out the Barrel to...
Fish and chips.
Exactly. Jellied eels. Pie and mash.
Great. Now, I bet when you're walking around, and especially in schools, you probably get a few funny stories. Have you got any examples of kids not quite realising who you are or what you're there for? I've heard previous mayors saying, the kids were a bit confused. They thought I was the Prime Minister. But do you have that at all?
Yes, I think we all do, don't we? Even with adults. But yes, I'm with my consort as well, Marius, and we've been walking around. Actually, we have had some, especially being obviously the Queen's Platinum. So I think we've been asked, "Am I the Queen?" That was one. That was one. And then when we were going around with the town crier last week, I think people thought, so we were talking about this afterwards, people thought that I had just put a fancy dress costume on.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't realise this is actually the mayor, this is what it is, this is historical. So I think, yes, there's that tendency to actually, we have a mayor? Who is the mayor? What does she do and where is she? So some people literally thought we just put on a little fancy dress outfit and a walk down with the town crier, not actually recognising this actually it's really historical, very, very important role.
There is some education to do, I think, isn't there, in that respect, in perhaps local politics as well. I mean, the percentage turnout for the local elections might point to that as well. I don't know how maybe schools have got to chip in there and just explain how that all works. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's, again, I'm always saying we've got a hub of communication avenues, and yet we are still the worst communicators, unfortunately. I really believe that talking word of mouth, and it is just about people, listening and actually taking it on board and then taking it away with them. I always say if you can tell 5 people what you're hearing, then those 5 people can tell another 5 people. And I agree. I think that role as mayor, as councillor, it's all very much, people don't really understand what exactly that involves and where it's derived from. And they are extremely important roles. They're historical, as I've said. They are part of how our borough is run and how everything is run and connected in the borough. So the mayor is the first citizen of the borough, as you're probably aware. They would really go through the whole of the borough of Hillingdon, connecting and lifting, and also in charge of the council meetings.
And the Hillingdon Borough is such a unique borough, isn't it? Partly its shape, and partly there's such a diverse community as well, north and south and east and west as well. Yeah,
we are one of the, I think we're the only borough actually that has that stretch. So we're a long borough, very long, and quite correctly, it covers a lot of mileage. One of the things that we're thinking of doing, I've just got to try and organise and work out strategically how we're organising it. What we would like to do is a walk from the south of the borough to the north of the borough with stopping points, historical stopping points on the way, and make it sponsored.
Yeah.
So that's sort of one of the things. If anyone wants to help with that, we would really appreciate that. And again, it's across the borough, so it'd be right the way through.
Yeah, all the different wards. Maybe you could go through all 50, how many are there? 21 wards, I think. 53 councillors. And Eastcote, I mean, Just talking about Eastcote for a moment, because you're one of the councillors there, that's really undergone a major uplift, isn't it? Because I used to live in Eastcote maybe sort of 15 years ago. I was down in Castleton Road. Last few weeks, we went to Eastcote House and Gardens for a start. Beautiful gardens, an amazing cafe, by the way. Massive pieces of cake. I mean, they beat the National Trust by a country mile. But I walked through Eastcote High Street. I thought, wow, it's really lifted and it's really looking, as a positive place to be.
Yeah, and we have, and I think it's the community putting together, working with the community, so local councillors working with their community, working with their residents' associations, and knowing what's actually needed, knowing what the residents are, who they are, and what's needed with the borough. Like you say, we were on the project years ago for Eastcote House Gardens, and there are some amazing, amazing people that have put that together on the residents' associations and the community. So, and working with them to being able to get the lottery funding, obviously, to be able to do that. And again, with the high street, it was a flood area. That's why we've got the flood gardens in there, because it was a potential for flooding. And it's looking at environmental ways to really, bring that, get rid of the flooding. How can we do it? But how can we do it in an environmental way?
Looks nice. Lastly, do you have any favourite songs going back in time? I'm not going to play them on this podcast, but I'm just interested.
Yes, that is interesting, isn't it? Wow, now I've got to think, because you've got me there. Do you know what? I haven't, and the reason, it might sound a bit of a cop-out, but I love all types of music.
Yeah, I'm the same, actually.
So I love my jazz. My dad was he's passed away now, but he was a massive Dave Brubeck fan, so I was sort of brought up around the Dave Brubeck and Stan Kenton and all that as a kid, so I love all that. But then I also like my rock and roll, and I like 50s, 60s. I like every type of music, so I don't really have a specific one that I like. I like everything, even the modern ones, which are used for our Keep Fit classes. I just like all of them. And my consort loves Elvis, so we've got a big batch of Elvis, a big Elvis fan here. So and I love Elvis too, so it's really good. We just like everything.
Well, thanks for popping in. And as we mentioned there, anybody wants to get involved in a sponsored walk from the south to the north of the borough, that sounds a great idea.
How can we contact about all these things you've mentioned?
Yeah, so just contact me. So you can contact me at the mayor at Hillingdon. That's the best port of call. And what we can do, as soon as you make contact, we can then bring it all in together.
Yeah.
And I think we're just so privileged. We just feel very blessed to have this position, and to be able to help the community. We want to really serve the community in this year, really connecting and really bringing everyone in. We are a good borough, and we have got amazing people here, and really good people that will actually go out their way to make change and serve. And that's so important.
Yeah, wise words. Thank you very much. Now, you may have caught some of the Jubilee events in Uxbridge arranged by the Uxbridge BID, that's the Uxbridge Business Improvement District. Their mission is to get more people using the town and make it a brighter, safer place to be. And they've certainly been doing that recently with amazing colourful artwork on shop windows. Let's find out how the Jubilee Weekend went and what's planned for summer and beyond. Kira Gibson's here from the Uxbridge Business Improvement District. Welcome back, Kira.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, first of all, we've just passed Jubilee Weekend as we record this. How was that?
It was absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. We had 3 days of Jubilee celebrations, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We had 50s bands, swing dancers, vintage pop-ups. I mean, who would have thought hooker duck could be so popular? There was queues. Definitely won the favourite game. Coconut Shire, ring toss, live wire, palace guards roaming. We gave away 1,000 free cupcakes.
Oh, wow.
You name it, we did it. It was such fun. We had a beautiful cake set made all out of flowers that looked beautiful by the flower store. We also had a lovely palace guard selfie prop that people could become the queen and the palace guards. Just wonderful little touches. Our flower car, which is now in situ until the end of August. Just wonderful little elements. It was not as big as we normally do. I thought if we do something smaller, because I didn't know how many people we'd get. And oh my goodness, we were packed. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, couldn't move. It was fantastic. We were running up and down. I loved it. And the feedback we've had has just been amazing.
Yeah, that's
really
good.
Fantastic. So fun for all ages. And it was really much a family weekend. And it was just families. It was so wonderful to see everybody just had a brilliant time and a fitting celebration for such a wonderful occasion across the country.
And that's what you're here for, really, isn't it? To try and increase footfall into the town.
Definitely, that's it. If we have footfall in the town and people becoming more aware of Uxbridge and all the wonderful things we have to offer, and, you know, the feedback is so nice when it's people saying, we've come in, you know, from Amersham for the day, we didn't actually know Uxbridge did all this, you know, oh, it's so green, or oh, have you seen the floral phone boxes? Obviously my pride and joy. And I'm like, yes. You know, and I think it's such nice to have feedback from people who haven't been to Uxbridge in a while, and they come in and see all the very positive changes that, you know, we as a bid and Love Uxbridge have implemented, and that's a wonderful feeling.
So lots more coming up in the summer. What's the Pirates all about?
Well, I mean, I figured Pirate Fest because we're so close to the ocean.
Yes.
So we're kicking off on Wednesday, the 20th of July, finishing Sunday, the 31st of July. And we have Pirate Fest. So we've got a pirate treasure trail that will be running for those sort of 2 weeks, which is 10 participating businesses and shops. So you can get your pirate treasure trail map from the 25-foot pirate ship in Uxbridge Town Centre, as you do.
Yeah.
And collect your trail map from there. Solve the word puzzle. And when you solve the word puzzle, you can then come back to the pirate ship and collect your prize from Captain Uxbridge.
Cool. Captain
Uxbridge. Who will be there every Saturday and Sunday. In addition to a lovely sort of foodie pop-up coming back in, because every time I think, oh, you know, do we bring in, you know, foodies? And people are like, yes, because we love the food markets. So, which is such wonderful feedback. So, yeah, we're going to do a little mini food market again, which will be great, all with a little bit of a theme. So trying to, you know, pie and mash and fish and chips. And we've got somebody doing amazing West Indian food that actually is on the bid team. So, yeah, it would be lovely to have all these different things back in. And obviously, as I said, we've got our pirate ship in, which will be in situ for the whole 2 weeks. And then on the Saturday and Sunday, the pirate ship will be open, because pirates don't like to, you know, wake up Monday to Friday. No. You know, so the pirate ship will be open Saturday and Sunday, so people can go onto the ship, they can have selfies, take photos, and be shown around by Captain Uxbridge. And every Wednesday, we're going to have a free soft play bus up by the library. Cool. So it's a ocean-themed double-decker play bus. No need to book. It's based on a first-come, first-served basis. You've got about 20 to 30 minutes that you can go through the whole bus, do as a soft play, all free. So you can pop your kids in, wait outside with a coffee. Kids can run around, and then once you've done your half an hour, you can always queue up again and come back on. So there's no time limit, in the sense that you can always come back again. Just a nice thing for families and for mums and dads, you know, particularly during the summer. It's always difficult to find things to do with kids, particularly things that are free. As we know, things are getting more and more expensive, so we just thought that was a nice touch. And Wednesday's quite a quiet day in the town, so I thought it's a nice day to have a giant ocean-themed bus.
There's a few cafes. You could probably sit outside there and keep an eye on your kids who are causing mayhem inside the bus.
Definitely, you know, and it's also very near the library as well, so you can go take a few books out the library, do a bit of shopping, grab some lunch, go to Fassnage Park. You know, it's a full day out, which is what we want.
Is there any buried treasure anywhere, or can we bring cutlasses into the town?
Probably no to the cutlasses, health and safety and all that. But and buried treasure, well, there might be buried treasure. There might be a treasure chest. Ooh. Might be some stocks coming in to, you know, put the scallywags. We've got some amazing selfie props coming in, some really cool stuff, just to kind of add that little extra. We've also got every Saturday live music. So the first Saturday, I think the second Saturday, I've got 50-piece pirate performers. So it's a samba band. They're all dressed as pirates, and they run up and down the high street. We've had them in before and caused carnage, but people love them. I absolutely love them. And then we've got a 4-metre wide giant octopus.
Right.
puppet that roams. We've got a sea creature in a sea globe, pirates on stilts, mermaids, you name it. We've got it. It will be so much fun. We've got R coming in. That is the actual name of the group. They go on like little segways that are decorated as pirate ships, and they zoom through the high street playing Pirates of the Caribbean music, and it's just it's so much fun. It's brilliant. Can't beat that. So that'll be every Saturday. Obviously follow us at Love Uxbridge and you'll be able to see what's on each week on our social channels, but that'll be around 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. every Saturday. And then obviously we've also got a sea shanty band coming in that are coming up from Cornwall to do some proper pirate sea shanties.
Yeah.
And then every Sunday as well, between 11 and 4 p.m, we have an interactive show for the kids. So the first week is the Pirate Party Adventure, and the second week is the Miraculous Mermaid.
Great.
So we've got a pirate show and a mermaid show. It'll be between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. The show is about 45 minutes, completely free again for the kids. So if you miss the first show, you can then come back. The show starts every hour on the hour between 11 and 4. You can just come, enjoy, stay for the whole show, stay for a bit. There's sort of activities and stuff throughout that gets the kids up and moving and running around. And then there's opportunity to, have a little selfie and stuff afterwards with the performers.
So that is a busy summer with the pirate themed. Then looking a bit further ahead, we've got other things happening towards Halloween, and there's something about a giant whale as well.
Yes. So as part of our Love Uxbridge Love Recycling campaign, we'd like to start in September. We're kicking it off with giant whale, and inside the giant whale you have a puppet show. So we've chosen the tale of a turtle who has eaten a bit of plastic, and what happens when we sort of pollute our oceans and what we can all do and make those little changes. It's obviously a show for kids. It's interactive. It's absolutely beautiful. You can go in. The show lasts about half an hour to 40 minutes. It will be pre-booked. Booking hasn't opened yet. But yeah, it's a lovely tale. It's not alarming or anything for the kids. It's just a really nice day, and it's a story time basically inside the whale, and you meet lots of sea creatures on the way, and it's a really just lovely one. And that is Saturday the 4th, I think it is.
Where will the whale be based?
In the town centre. So I'm hoping to put the whale sort of pavilion side.
Yeah.
So Saturday 24th of September is when the whale is in. But I'm hoping that the whale will sort of go pavilion side, and it's sort of cordoned off, and people can,
A beached whale.
Uxbridge. A beached whale in Uxbridge.
And then even further ahead, Halloween. I know that's a favourite of yours.
Yes, love Halloween. Always favourite. This year, this is an exclusive here because we haven't actually announced this yet. We're going to be doing Undead Uxbridge.
Right. There are already hints of that in some places, but...
Yeah. So we've got, we're going to be going with a zombie theme.
Yeah.
So we'll have classes for kids, how to be a zombie, things like zombie snot making, so kids can make slime. Obviously, we're going to have brain school, which is going to be pumpkin carving.
Ah, yes.
And just sort of wonderful, fun things for the kids to do. Have a couple of zombie performers in, have some music, activities, and then I'm hoping to do something on the Friday night for the adults as well. So I've got some good ideas, and just need to see if I can have access to a few empty buildings.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, help our nighttime economy a little bit there, and just keep people in the town.
Some kind of secret cinema thing where you could do a sort of interactive trail or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, we've got some cool ideas.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. So all that information will be on the Love Uxbridge website, of course, loveuxbridge.co.uk.
Mm-hmm. And our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and TikTok, which is at Love Uxbridge.
Yeah. Obviously, your ballot.
Term 2 ballot.
Yes. Is about to start, and companies can now vote you back in for another 5 years. Yes. I can't see why you wouldn't vote you back in, having all these beached whales and pirates and things on your doorstep. But if you're a company in Uxbridge, my advice is vote yes.
Thank you.
Can I say that? Am I allowed to?
I don't know.
Are we in some kind of period of don't discuss politics?
We're a neutral
Yes,
organisation.
exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks, Kira, for popping in and giving us a bit of an exclusive there. Undead Uxbridge, watch out for that over Halloween. And then loads of things happening over the summer with the pirates. And as we say, don't bring your cutlasses in. That's probably not a good idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I can't wait for Undead Uxbridge. Next, have you ever wondered what local councillors actually do and how it all works? We thought we'd chat to a local councillor to find out more. Scot Farley is a councillor in the West Drayton ward in Hillingdon. Most people will probably know about MPs. We vote for our MP and they're, Labour, Conservative, whatever. Not so many people know how the local councillor system works. Can you briefly explain how the local council system works and the wards this borough's split up into, first of all?
Thank you. So, as I say, I'm a West Drayton councillor. In West Drayton, we have 3 councillors elected to that ward. Other wards, and my memory serves 21 wards in the borough, and we have a total of 53 councillors across Hillingdon and in different denominations within each of those wards. So Harefield, far in the north, is a smaller ward and it has 1 councillor, and then we work our way through all the other wards, and in different numbers. You have 2 in some wards, 3 in others. This was as a result of a ward boundary change for the last election. Previous to that, all wards had 3 councillors, and Harefield, which was slightly larger on the ward boundaries then, had 2 councillors. So it has changed significantly and dropped from 65 to 53 across the entire borough. As councillors, we are there to represent the residents of our ward initially, but as representatives, we do represent the entire borough as well. We are Hillingdon councillors, so we do represent everyone ultimately, but specifically you're tailored to your individual ward. So I'm a West Drayton ward. With the reduction of councillors, it means that some things get overlapped, and you've got to maybe as councillors take on other roles or other positions that you may not have had before. And quite rightly, I think, as well, to get a fair experience. I mean, people in the main go into doing politics or local politics or even MPs because they want to do, whatever their ideology is, they want to go into that to do a good job and represent their residents and improve their lives. I mean, in terms of the difference between MPs and councillors, MPs are your national representative. They cover a larger area and a larger number of people for a start off. As ward councillors, we've got up to maybe about 9,000 residents in a ward. With an MP, you're covering a larger area. You've got 75 to 100,000 constituents to represent in Parliament, and it is a more national thing. So dealing with national issues, the things that actually affect everyone across the country. Whereas ward councillors, we are highly localised. Initially localised to our ward because that's who we're representing. The MPs cover things such as Department of Work and Pensions, benefits and things of that nature. Whereas with councillors, it's the mundane things, but they are important to people. Things like potholes, things like antisocial behaviour, the things that are on the ground. So issues of fly tipping, issues with adult social care, adaptations to housing to enable residents to live a decent life. And obviously there is a provision for council housing as well. That's sort of the distinction, is that we are more local, but we are the ones dealing with the local things that are on the ground rather than the national issues.
And it's not a paid post, is it? Or you're not full-time?
I work full-time, yes. I receive an allowance, as all councillors do. I also receive what is referred to as a special responsibility allowance because I lead on a committee. So I get an additional amount. These are not amounts that you could live on. It's an allowance to compensate you for what you're doing when you're not doing your full-time job. And then you've got other allowances and payments that are made to committee chairs and to the leaders of the group, the chief whip, and the leader of the council, and so on. So there is expense made to councillors depending on what they are doing. But certainly there is a base level for every councillor.
So in West Drayton in particular, what's the common issues that come up with the residents there?
Just a little bit background on myself. As a councillor, I've been doing it for 4 years. I've been a proactive councillor, so I go out looking for the issues. Residents do come to you. There are other things, but what I try to do is to go out into the ward on a weekly basis, drive around, walk around. What are the issues before they become a problem for a resident? I've dealt with it, or it's in the process of being dealt with. So that's how I approach things. Generally speaking, a lot of the stuff is quite common. So you've got a lot of things on housing problems that people have got. Again, that's tricky because there's just not enough of the housing in the borough, which is a common complaint throughout the country. The flight tip, the quality of the roads. Then you get into the more intimate things where it's in dealing with people's personal issues. So you got issues with disability. A resident has been having some trouble getting any success from the council or getting any result. Resident comes to me, I've got an issue with, my child needs, adaptations to the house, or I need access into the property, or whatever it might be. Residents do find that they can't get things done as quickly as they need, really. It's being proactive, but trying to handle those things sensitively and to make them happen quicker than they would have if they were doing it off their own efforts.
Can you give us some examples of successes you've had with residents?
In Botwell and Hayes, where I was, there was a path that connected from Albion Road around the Bowls Club, and it was in a dreadful condition. Basically, the nature was reclaiming the pathway. So I was able to get that resurfaced, have an additional path that connected from that newly laid one all the way to the children's playground, because that didn't exist. Got that done. And then additionally, I got a destinalised drop curb put in. That was just me lobbying. It's not safe. It's not safe to walk on. And it's not good for people that can't get up those steps. So got that put in. One of the things I achieved at the very beginning was a resident with a disabled child, and the family had not had anything out of the council for some time. And when I then stepped in, I was able to initiate and work with officers at the council to get the adaptations done to the property for this disabled child. And the family were very grateful, but that's what we do as councillors. That's the intent. We're there to try and help. As I say, it's really satisfying when you get to a conclusion that helps the resident. That really is that's what you do this for, really. It's giving me goosebumps now thinking about it, because it's just, if you have a passion for this sort of stuff, to my mind, that's why you do it. You're there to help residents as best you can. And as I said, we're not always successful, but we do try, and that really is the crux of it.
I was going to say, Scott, what made you want to do this? Because it seems like quite a lot of hard work, and how much of your week also is taken up, and also does that keep you awake at night? The
times alter week on week, because depending if you're on committees and when they sit. In my previous term, the weekends, pretty much I'll be doing something council related. During the week, there's emails that need to be dealt with, phone calls, resident visits, committees to sit on, preparation for committees. So in terms of hours, it's hard to say, because there's things that you do that you don't really think about, that they are.
It sounds almost like doing another job on top of your job.
It is, but you get out of it what you put in. And as a councillor, it is hard work, and it should be hard. It should be hard work, because you are dealing with people's lives. You are trying to represent them and help them as best you can. I want to do a good job, and that mindset has sort of spurred me on to keep going and push and lobby and do all these things that any councillor should be doing, quite frankly. But that's something that spurred me on. I want to do my best by my residents I represent, and that's really how I've approached it. For me, it's about the service, and trying to improve the area that I represent and the lives of the residents.
I think if you're a good ward councillor, you can really change people's lives, can't you?
I'm going to name drop now, but Councillor Gardner, she is phenomenal. I mean, she's been my co-councillor in Botwell, where I was representing, and she's also the domestic abuse advocate as well for the borough. As a councillor, certainly you can make a huge difference, but again, it's what you put in.
And another thing you do, of course, is the surgeries, which I think a lot of people aren't aware of. I'm often encouraging people to go to surgeries, so perhaps you could just mention about that.
The surgeries themselves are opportunities for the councillor and the resident can come together face to face, and the resident presents an issue and we basically take their issue and we send it to the council and then feedback to them thereafter. So we have in West Drayton ones at the Bell Farm Church in West Drayton, and also there's another one which we have at the West Drayton Muesli Community Centre. We are looking potentially maybe doing a third one, but it's getting a suitable location. You know, it really is one of the key ways that we stay in touch with residents.
So the West Drayton ward on the map, if you're in West Drayton, Scot.
Yes, I'll put my glasses on.
We've got the southern boundary, looks like the M4.
Yes.
The eastern boundary is Stockley Road. The northern boundary looks like the railway.
It is, yes.
And then the western boundary, you're into the countryside there.
Yes, that's one of the rivers, I think that is. It runs through there, which is why it's all sort of wiggly.
And how do you share work between the other two councillors in your ward? How do you figure out who does what then?
That's a good question. So for me, I'm proactive. I go around and I identify issues, report them, and I ensure that when I communicate this to the council, I copy them in on the email so they know what I've been doing and so on and so forth. Similarly, they do the same thing for me. That's how we don't duplicate. Some wards will break the ward up into component parts. So this council will cover this area, this council will do this part, and so on. For me personally, I want to make sure that I cover the entire ward, because otherwise I don't want to be in a position where it looks as though I'm only sort of looking after a certain bit. And a resident's got an issue going, why don't you know about these things going on in this area, and there's themes that occur in certain parts of the ward, and you want to make sure that you're still representing everybody. But again, it's about approach and what works for those councillors and how they decide to manage their ward.
Yeah, I guess if there was a high street area, there'd be more perhaps licensing issues compared to a residential area, perhaps more street lights and potholes and things. I don't know.
There's things that which will relate to a shopping centre or a shopping area that you wouldn't get in a residential area. There's areas around that which are quite industrial areas, or where there's commercial enterprise that's happening.
So in terms of contacting, you've mentioned the ward surgeries. We've got the second Wednesday of each month at Uxbridge in West Drayton Community Centre. That's 7 till 8 p.m. And I gather you share that with your other fellow councillors. Or fourth Thursday of the month at Bell Farm Christian Centre, 10 a.m. till noon. I guess email as well. We could probably email you.
Mine is sfarley @hillingdon.gov.uk. Any councillor will be the first initial and the surname.
So that's Farley, because it could spell that in different ways.
Indeed. And yes, so it is. Yes, just like the Farley's rusks, as my father would always say.
Fairly active on Twitter. Could follow you on there, I guess.
Yes, it's the @ and then CLLR, so it's the short of councillor, and then Scot Farley.
Well, thanks for popping in, Scott. That's marvellous, giving a bit of an insight there into life as a councillor. Do pop back at any point and fill us in on how it's been going in West Drayton.
Not at all. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Lastly this month, news on a walk to raise funds for the amazing Michael Sobell Hospice up in Northwood. So Paige Dawkins, who's the communications manager for Michael Sobell Hospice, on the line. And there's a date for our diaries, I hear, Paige. What's that?
Yes, so on the Saturday, the 30th of July this year, the Michael Sobell Hospice charity are hosting our first ever summer memory walk. And that is an event where there's a 2-kilometre or 10-kilometre route. And we're inviting people to come and meet us at Merchant Taylor School in Moore Park. And then we'll go on a walk really to remember and celebrate the lives of loved ones who are no longer with us. And it's all in support of the charity.
So there's two different lengths of walks, a 10k and 2k. Tell us about the route, because it goes through some really lovely countryside, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. So both routes start at the school and make their way around the lovely lake there. And then, so the 2-kilometre route, which is more ideal for families and people with young children to join in and get involved. And then the 10-kilometre route, you'll go past the lake and then through Ebury Way, and then round the Croxley Common Moor, which is lovely wildlife there. And then when we'll all meet back where we started, and you can also then write a special dedication to your loved one on our pop-up memory wall, which will be there.
So you're after teams or individuals to join this event. What does it cost for the various categories?
Yes, so you can register as part of a team or as an individual. For individual entry per person, for the 10-kilometre walk, it is a £35 to register your place. And we are asking people with that one if they'd like to raise £50 to support our hospice. And for the 2-kilometre walk, it's £15 to register for a place, and asking people to raise £30 to support the hospice. And under 13s can walk for free. You can find out more information by searching Michael Sobell Hospice Summer Memory Walk, and that will take you to our webpage. And when you scroll down, you'll be able to see all of the information about your entry fees and team entries, fundraising entries.
And what else is going on at the school on the day?
We are going to be having a barbecue there as well, so you can purchase your favourite barbecue foods. There'll be music there as well, and some children's entertainment. And also there'll be, quite importantly, our pop-up memory wall, where we can ask our walkers to write a dedication to the loved one who they're walking in memory of.
And for anyone who doesn't know about the hospice, can you give us a bit more information about the hospice? Maybe a bit about the history and then who it serves?
Of course. So the Michael Sobell Hospice is based at the Mount Vernon Hospital in Northwood, and it's been there for over 45 years. And our expert teams there provide palliative and end-of-life care services to people living with advancing illness in the London Borough of Hillingdon. The hospice really is about creating a safe place for people so they can experience a journey towards the end of their life that is peaceful, comfortable and free from worry and pain as well. And so the Michael Sobell Hospice charity, which the Summer Memory Walk is in aid of, strives to raise the funds that are needed to keep that amazing service going.
And I'm sure it'll be a lovely day. It's in July.
Yes, we hope so, with our lovely British weather over here.
All right, well, thanks, Paige.
No, thank you so much, Steve. That's really great. Thank you for helping us out with promoting this.
No worries, take care. Now, I must just mention, if you're on Twitter and run a small business in the area, join Hillingdon Hour every Thursday, 8 till 9 p.m. for business tips, events and a laugh. Just search for Hillingdon Hour. And that's all for this month's podcast. There's 5 really inspiring people for you. Do join us on social media if you don't already. Just search UxbridgeFM on all the usual platforms. For local events, head to our website, uxbridgefm.co.uk/events. And if you're lucky, your smart speaker might even play the Uxbridge FM podcast. Thanks for Chris Allen for helping out and Luke Anieri for the music. I'll catch you next month.